Welcome to the Amy Gregory Show, the show where real estate gets a reality check and success doesn't require burnout. I'm Amy, your straight shooting, pep talk in your pocket host who took the real estate world by storm with zero cold calls, no door knocking, and a firm no thanks to working 50-hour weeks. 8 years ago, I jumped into real estate with both feet, 3 kids, and a baby on the way. In my rookie year, I broke every rule in the book, earning 6 figures working just 10 hours a week. The industry was shocked. I wasn't. Now, I lead a powerhouse team of over 500 female solo agents nationwide, host retreats, create online courses, and sit proudly in the top 10 of my brokerage with over 85,000 agents. My mission? To help women like you scale your business, trust your intuition, and redefine what success looks like on your terms. So, if you're ready to play big, ditch the hustle culture, and build a business that fits your life, not the other way around, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. The one and only Amy Peterson is joining me today on this episode of the Amy Gregory Show, but it's going to roll into like at least 2 episodes because we're a little bit nervous to be mic'd up and on camera, unfiltered, raw, unedited.
Without a chaperone.
Being like, maybe don't say that. Amy and I met, we only had mutual friends. Mm-hmm. You've been licensed for how long?
I wasn't licensed.
No,
oh, now,
you weren't
5
licensed,
years.
but you've been
Almost
licensed 5 years. Because
Mm-hmm.
I have to like backtrack of like, how do we even know each other?
Yeah.
The first time we met, this is wild. Amy posted a wetsuit for sale on like Facebook Marketplace, or I don't even think it was Marketplace.
Yeah.
It was just like a neighborhood group. And I didn't even live in that neighborhood anymore, but I saw the wetsuit and I was like, I need that. And I feel like I kind of know who that is. Like, because we had a lot of common friends, but we didn't know each other. Mm-hmm. And I bought a wetsuit from you. Mm-hmm. And that was the start of this story.
So that's what's so funny is I opened the door and cute little Amy is there. And I recognized her from Instagram. I was like, you know what? I'm thinking about getting my real estate license. And she said, you go and do that and then call me and we'll go to lunch. And then that's what everything changed.
Well, and that was like really early on in my business. Yeah. And I had already moved my license to EXP. But one of the habits I had in my business was that I was going to go to lunch with someone every single week. Mm-hmm. Like an agent or a potential client or like a lending partner. I didn't know what I was doing. Mm-hmm. Like I had no idea what I was doing.
You figured it out along the way.
But I think that's the thing that most agents don't realize is that you actually know way more than you think. Mm-hmm. So Amy got her license. She hung her license with the Powerhouse Group at EXP. And what did you do your first year in real estate? Like, how much production did you do? Do you even remember?
Oh, gosh. I think I probably did 5 million, 3 to 5 million.
Which is a great number. That means you're bringing home about $100,000.
Yeah.
Let's roughly. Now, I can't say that because of, like, NAR regulations. Like, this is going to be a problem. See, I'm trying to stay edited. And we're not editing this part out because it's funny. But that's the thing is, like, so many agents, like, I can't talk about that. Mm-hmm. But at the time, we could talk about NAR things where it's like, you need to understand what's your price point, what your average commission rate is, and then how many houses do you need to sell
to make that
happen, right?
And that was one of the best things that you taught me early on is start at the end first and work your way back.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Yeah. And it's painful though. Like starting in real estate, like if you had to tell someone today who just got their license, knowing what you know now, and you're like, okay, go back, like get your first deal, how do you explain to them how to do that?
Do you want me to share about my experience?
Oh no. You can or not. But like it's really hard. Like honestly, it's like really hard when people say, well, just tell me how to get my first deal. And you're like, well, and that's where we go to like it's easier to 10x than 2x. It's like you can't just build to your next deal because it's so much bigger. And that bugged you and it bugged me too. And I knew it was going to bug her because fun fact, we were both undiagnosed ADD at the time.
And we're going to talk more on that later.
It's a good story. Those are some good stories.
Uh-huh.
But your first deal started, you tell the story.
It was a referral from Amy, actually. And so you sent me over this referral of a client. We became friends. She's absolutely wonderful. And that just kind of steamrolled. I used that a lot for marketing. I posted a lot about it. I shared a lot about it. I did mailers. I just went all in on it. And that turned into multiple deals. And I think that is and I hate to say deals, but because they're all just dear, dear clients, but you know what I mean, for sake of the argument here, it turned into a steamroller, you know, and that's the beauty, I think, and that's where if you're doing it well, you can turn one listing into 3 and, you know, one client hopefully into 3 because you want to turn them into walking billboards. Well, but that's where it came from in the beginning.
But this is
and it was frustrating to get there.
She was so annoyed.
And Amy said to me at the time, she's like, "You're just annoyed because it's something you're not good at yet." And I was like, "Well, that's so rude, but right.
We're such mirrors of each other that it's funny because I knew why it was bugging her because that was me like 2 years prior where I was like, I feel like I'm smart enough that I should be able to like do this
Figure
like
it
this.
out.
And that's the thing too is like we were in like it's not like we're 25 starting. We were both like in middle motherhood doing this and you're like used to doing things that you're good at. And so when all of a sudden you're like the beginner at something again, you're like, wait, this is a really foreign feeling. And if you're not careful, you can like work against yourself. But the other thing too is like if we take this like a big picture, because it was like I want to say it was like at an $850 price point. Like it was a good deal.
Yeah.
They were buyers, they were fully pre-qualified. And Amy and I live, for reference, we live about 20-25 minutes away from each other. But have similar markets, similar demographics. We have a lot of friends that overlap with each other. But that's the power of EXP, because no agent gives away an $850,000 client. Like no one does that. But here's what I knew about Amy is once she got one deal under her belt, I knew it would just be a domino effect. So I had the choice of, well, could I sit down with Amy and teach and train her and give her all of my systems? Yes, but that's not my strong point because, hi, I have ADHD too. That's not my strong point. So then I was like, or I can just refer her this deal, and I think I took a referral fee on it, and I just like counseled on it and helped like make sure like, okay, this is kind of how you do it, walk her through it when she's in the deal, because you're the same as me, you learn best in the deal, like tactical. And I knew that that deal would turn into her next deals, which then makes sense for me because I'm at EXP, so when she wins, I win.
Right.
Which was like a big deal. And that was just the bet I made, and most people would have told me I was crazy, that I was crazy. Let's talk today a little bit about the power of no and like deals gone wrong, because now we're both about, I think I'm like 7 or 8 years in and you're about 5 years in. And every now and again, Amy's that person I'm like, you're never going to believe this, you know, because you get some wild stuff. So like, tell me things that you've said no to inside of transactions. Is there anything in particular you can like, yeah, no. Not doing that.
It's interesting that you bring this up because I was just thinking we should start a whole podcast just on wild things we hear and see inside real estate. It is wild.
It's a wild, wild west.
Yeah, it is. But specifically, gosh, I mean, I think the one that comes to mind most right now is somebody reaching out wanting me to represent them, but not represent them. So they want me to, and this isn't like a life-altering crazy thing, but it's just something that happens often that I've just had to learn to say no, because I want to naturally help people, and we're built that way to want to fix.
Yeah.
And I've had to say, no, I can't do that. I either have to be hired to represent you, or I can't advise you. That's a hard no.
Because that's not, like, that puts you in a vulnerable spot. And I don't think buyers and sellers realize that sometimes. Don't. And it's mostly buyers that try and do this, where they're just kind of looking, and you hold the listing, and then they're like, okay, well, can you do all the paperwork for me and send me all the due diligence and all of the things? And you're like, no. Yeah. Because I'm not your agent. And so if you don't want representation, that's totally fine. But then go ahead and write your own contract.
Right. And that's what I just have to advise.
And that's fine. They're allowed to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to say no to. I mean, it's easier now, but that was a hard one at the beginning because I wanted to help. I want to sell my house. But that's an easy no now.
Okay, what about one of the funny ones I said no to was, what was it? Oh, there was a deal where they didn't want a yard sign in their front yard. And then I was like, because you have this whole go-to-market strategy of like, and it's math. You're like, no, we need visibility. We need so many people to see it. We need X amount of eyeballs on it so that we get X amount of showings and then get X amount of offers, whatever. And this was when the market was like ramping up pretty quickly and appraisals like were not keeping up, right? So you were hedging against knowing that you're going to have to fight for your appraisal. Because the market had shifted, like appraisals,
so quickly.
Right? And so that was part of my marketing strategy. And they're like, well, but a neighbor a couple houses down wants to buy the house. And I'm like, I understand that, but you still need to go to market and put the yard sign in and do the open house and do the things. And I said, just so that you can, like, if that appraisal comes in low, you can say, but we have 3 other offers.
Right.
Or this was like how many showings we had, so you can demonstrate market value. They didn't do it. Wouldn't you know it? The appraisal came in low, and then you know what they asked me? What do you think they asked me? Guess, just guess.
I can already guess. For it to be come from your commissions.
They sure did, and I had just like had it. I was just like, what world are we living in?
Yeah.
And so I didn't just say no. I was just like, sure, I would love to. Go ahead and put my name on title of your appreciating asset, and I'll give you my commission. Like, okay, like. But also, let me send you the screenshots of the emails where I said, go to market because your biggest risk inside this transaction is your appraisal, right? Which isn't the biggest risk now, like the market has shifted, right? So now what are we advising clients to do? How are we comping houses now?
Active listings. What's for sale down the street? Yeah. I mean, obviously comps are important as well, but the most important thing right now is the same model that's 3 doors down that just dropped $50,000.
Yeah, you're looking at like price reductions, and a lot of times like, well, but my neighbor from last year, and you're like, don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore.
It's totally irrelevant.
Which is hard. It's hard, and that's what's hard is this market has shifted. I mean, just in the 5 years that we were talking about, we've gone from you just can put a sign in your yard, you're having multiple offers in a day, 2 days, 3 days, to now we're having appraisal issues, to now we're sitting on the market and we've got to do full curated marketing strategies, and that's hard for sellers to wrap their head around. It's changed a lot.
Well, but that's also goes to the importance of having an agent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because a lot of these things don't make like headline news until it's 4 months later.
Right.
Like when you're in the trenches, can't you kind of feel
it coming?
Like you can kind of feel like, oh, there's a little bit of a shift. There's a little bit here and a little bit there. It's very nuanced.
Right.
You know? Okay, what else have you had to say no to build the business that you've built? Because let's just let people know, in 2024, you freaking crushed it. I about fell over dead when I found out your numbers. I was like, dang.
We've had some good years. One of the things I would say now is I did used to always be the homeroom mom and the booster president and all of the things when my kids were younger, and I still have a little one.
Okay,
and I'm never going to be that again.
He's not actually that little.
he's in 8th grade.
He would be mortified if he listened to this and she's like, well, I still have a little one. That would imply that he's like under 6 and he's a teenager.
Well, he's 13.
Is he a teenager? Yes. I was like, wait, is he? He's a teenager. Yes. But in the scheme of your kids, he's the youngest.
My youngest.
And you have 5 kids. So like I have 4, she has 5. I feel like your kids are like 10 years older than mine. How old's your oldest?
25.
Yeah, my oldest is 18. So we're like 7 years.
Bit,
gap in our kids. But growing up, when you were a young mom, I like to say like young mom, middle mom, and empty nester. I don't know. Is that the phases of motherhood? You were always the classroom mom. I was too. You want me to do a Halloween party? I mean, that Halloween party was going to be
over the
top.
Bomb.
Yeah, absolutely. And now,
I just watched a video from my oldest son's campaign for student body president. Did I send this to you?
Yes.
I mean, when I say over the top, I was over the top, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. And now my cute little one, who's not so little, I mean, it's probably, here's a bag of candy and some name tags. Like, go
Like,
pass
here's
them
a
out.
sticker, and you probably had your VA make them for
Yeah,
us.
probably.
You didn't even do it. ChatGPT
And also,
that sucker.
I don't feel bad about it. I mean, I do want to be like, okay, I did do all those things when my kids were younger, but also it's a different season. And
It's a different season, and he has different benefits.
Yeah,
So,
different
and there
benefits.
is this shift. Like, I remember my oldest was probably, maybe he was like around a freshman in high school or something. And I vividly remember, because we're laughing about it, but it is a tender thing that, like, it guts you as a mom when you're like, oh, I can't be in two places at once.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to tell your kids no occasionally, and we do have to tell our kids no occasionally. But I remember standing in my bathroom, I was getting ready to go somewhere, and I don't even know what was going on with my son. I have no idea what it even was. I can't remember. But he said to me, he's like, so you mean you're not gonna be there? And I'm like, no, you did not tell me that you had this thing going on. I have a conflict, like, I can't be there. Like, you can see my calendar, like, put your stuff on it. And he's like, and he knows how to dig the knife. Like, we've raised kids that know how to, like, turn the knife on you, you know? And he's like, oh my gosh, like, you're always at work, like, you can never come. And I turned to him so fast, and I'm like, it's not what you said this summer on that brand new dirt bike I bought you, so just chill. And it was like a gut check for him too, because there are certain things where it's like, I'm gonna guess your youngest son goes on more vacations than your older son did.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so your older son gets more of you in the classroom. Your younger son sometimes, it's all just, it's never going to be the same.
Right. Right.
And that's the thing that's tricky.
Well, and just going back to what you said, I know we talked a little bit about balance, and I think that was the biggest struggle I had when I first got into real estate, is trying to keep a balance. I had always heard that, like, oh, you got to keep a balance and try to balance work life and family life. And I never wanted my family life to even feel like I was working. I didn't even want them to know I was doing this, because I didn't want it to impact anything. And I learned very quickly that there's no such thing as balance. This whole idea of a balanced work life, family life is really, it's just a lie, in my opinion, because it implies that everything should be equal, and it's not. And it's never going to be. And there's going to be seasons where this demands more time and energy, and then other seasons where this demands more time and energy. And we're always going to feel some level of guilt when we're pouring more here than here and whatever. But I think that that's okay to accept. That's just never going to be. There's going to be seasons where we need to be pouring more into friends or parents or children or business or our health. You know, it's just a lie to feel like you've got to keep a balance.
Oh,
and it's
absolutely.
just a constant circle of making you feel guilt.
Totally. Well, the other thing too is you said something interesting of like, oh, I didn't even want my kids to even feel that I'm working. And I felt that way early on, and now I'm like, I think it more about like getting like business and family life to like integrate, because like I was terrified, like actually terrified to go back to real estate. I sat on it for like 2 years, and then decided to go back to it, and obviously it worked out great. It, like, you know, similar to you, where you're like, oh,
why didn't I do this sooner?
Why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah.
But also there's gut-wrenching moments in those years. But what's interesting is I actually think just the opposite now is my kids actually get an unedited look at what it actually takes to build a business. And in order to build a six-figure business, multi-six-figure, seven-figure business, change is required. Change is required. And they get to see like me change. But then what's also really cool is like my kids now have access to a totally different mom. Like I know things I never would have known had I just like, and that's not to diminish my years as classroom mom, because those were super valuable, and you understand that, like how all that works and stuff, but it's okay to go into a new season too.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and the continued growth and the discomfort for the kids to see. My mom is doing this. I mean, they saw me on video for the first time. I'm trying to film. I think Amy asked me for something probably 5 years ago to send a little snippet for Instagram or whatever. I sat in my car, I think for 2 hours to send over a 10-second. I had probably 100 takes. And my kids laughed, I laughed, I keep it. I look back on that because that's something that was so uncomfortable, and they saw me doing that. And that goes to a lot for them to see their moms.
And let's be so for real, is you're doing this with like teenagers, kids in high school, and you're showing up like on Instagram and TikTok, and you're and then their friends are at your house that weekend, and you're just like, I feel like a 15-year-old girl. Right?
100%.
There's this really weird vulnerability.
Yeah, 100%.
And so and I think sometimes our kids have to deal with that too, of like their moms being like
openly doing something new, pursuing something, working on something.
But it's so good for them to see, and they think it's so cool. And I mean, they want to build, and that's the beauty of building from home now, is they do get to be a part of it. They get to see.
100%. What's something that was like an unexpected byproduct of you building a business? Like, because you think like, a lot of times we focus on like, oh, I'm going to go sell houses, I'm going to make more money, I'm going to take better vacations or whatever it is. But what's like something unexpected that you're like, oh, I didn't know I would find this inside of real estate?
You know, it's probably a few different things. I think, well, I talk about a lot. One of the things I talk about is knowing your strengths and weaknesses. I think I was kind of brought up with this, nothing on my parents, it was probably cultural, of if you have weaknesses, you need to strengthen your weaknesses. And that was the first thing that I had to get rid of, is no, I'm going to focus on my strengths, build from my strengths, hire out my weaknesses. That was something unique. The biggest thing, though, I think, is we really have no idea our capacity and our ability to do and to build and to create until you just start doing something scary and you just start building something. And then you look back. I mean, it's crazy. You said on one of our calls last week to look back at what you've done, write yourself a letter to that person that started 5 years ago, and look. And when you really slow down and look at what you've done over the last 5 years, it's significant. That was something that was really profound to me, is to take a chance on yourself, to go and do the thing. The worst thing that's going to happen, you're going to fail. The best thing that's going to happen is you're going to grow and you're going to build something, and it's going to roll into something else, and the confidence that comes from that, you know.
Oh, totally. But it's like confidence through failure, because it's a million failures to get to the win, right? I always say, it's like, I always use like a baseball analogy, because I think baseball is a sport of failure. Yeah. Like when you look at the guys that are in the pros, like their batting averages, I'm like to be one of the greats, you're like batting 30% basically. That's wild. Right? But that's the same when you look at like website conversion rates and like open rates on emails and things like that. It's like, I think sometimes we're expecting ourselves to like operate at 100% conversion rate, and you're like, that's not even realistic.
Possible. Well, and that's something that I think comes as you're starting and trying these new things, and you stop caring what people think, you stop being afraid and getting comfortable with the discomfort and what comes from those spaces. So that's something I think has been a big takeaway for me.
100%. Okay, a few more things really quickly. Talking about things we've said no to. How has like your day-to-day schedule shifted since you started working? Because we talk about this a lot. Like we both kind of live in communities with a lot of stay-at-home moms. And when you're the working mom, it's interesting. Yeah. And sometimes you're like, I can't come. Yeah. Yeah, and it's bittersweet.
Yeah, it is.
It's bittersweet.
Yes. So day-to-day life, that's an interesting question, because when I first started down this road and I was wanting 10% and figure it all out, everyone is telling you your morning routine. You've got to have your morning routine, and working out needs to be part of this morning routine, and all of these things need to be part. And so I was trying so hard to fit myself into this box that is working for everyone else that's talking about it. And I realized very quickly, I don't fit into that box. If I get up in the morning and I don't just get straight to work, it's gone. For me, this is everyone's different, and this is where we have to figure out what our strengths are and where we can work best in our own lives and in our own families. But for me, if I get up and I don't just go straight to work after I get my kids off to school, then it's gone. So I am
laser focused.
Yeah, get up, get ready, make breakfast for my kids, send them off to school, and then I am in work mode until lunch. Yeah. And then I can't schedule appointments in the morning. I can't go work out in the morning. It has to be in the afternoon when I start thinking about other things and going down another road. Yeah. So I am the most productive. That was very important for me. Figure out when your most productive hours of the day are, and then go all in on those without any distractions. And that's great, because all the kids are at school. Yeah. And then I am the mom that's fully present as soon as they get home.
Well, and that's the thing too, is it's like as your kids get older, the way they need you is different too. So like when they're little, being in classroom mom and all that stuff is important. But as they get older, I have found with like teenagers, it's like I want to be at like the crossroads, like when they're coming and going, because it's more of like a revolving door type day in the afternoon. And so I'm the same as you, where I like to get up and like get my stuff done like early in the morning. I work really great at like 5 in the morning. That's our ADD brains, I swear. Yeah. I should do a poll on that. And then by like 1 or 2 o'clock, don't you think? By then like 1 or 2 o'clock, done. I can be there for like the in and out of the day. And And giving up classroom mom doesn't mean I'm not engaged with my kids. It just means I'm going to engage with them in a different way that works better for my schedule now.
100%. And I think that is so critical. And that's the thing that I had to have non-negotiables. I'm never going to miss certain things.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be there when my kids get home from school. I'm always going to be there when my kids are coming home at night. Obviously, I'm not out working late at night like that. But those are the things, as you have teenagers.
Yeah, but that nighttime thing is a thing because, like, we're just coming out of summer, and I did not go to bed before midnight for 3 months straight.
Yeah, because I'm not going to bed before all my kids are home at night.
No.
I'm definitely, those are the crossroads that you talk about that are critical.
Don't you think this is a pattern recognition thing? It's a pattern recognition is that, like, okay, so this is, Amy and I both have ADD. And one of the superpower is it ADD, ADHD. Look, we're so ADHD we don't even know. Like, what's the proper whatever, I don't even care. But one of the things about having ADHD is you tend to be really good at pattern recognition. And so this is what plays so well into real estate is I can recognize how people want to talk to me, when they want to talk to me. I can recognize who's probably going to be moving before they know, like, oh, that person has all their kids graduating, they're probably going to downsize. This person's having a baby, they're going to upsize. Like, you can kind of just see how people move. Like, I can visually see that in my head. But I think, too, with kids is it's like I know where my kids are going to talk to me. Yeah. And it's at midnight when they come in, and I'm like, great. So then, like, my days almost shift in the summertime. Like, my work mornings don't start at 5 in the morning in the summertime. They start at 8 or 9.
Right.
Because I know I'm going to be up till midnight or 1. I've got 3 teenagers at home. I'm going to be up till 12 or 1 o'clock every single day.
I work again at night. I work well again.
Oh, yeah.
At night.
Yeah.
In a quiet house while I'm waiting for kids to come home as well. So, yeah, learning what those times of your day and time blocking things out and knowing, okay, if I schedule an appointment in the day, it's going to throw the rest of my day, or whatever works best for you.
And sometimes you have days that just get messed up, and you just deal with that. So, okay, let's wrap it up for this episode. Should I do my clap? I gotta say thanks so much for joining us on this episode of the Amy Gregory Show. We will get part 2 with Amy Peterson next week.